Do you feel like Notre Dame should be forced to join a conference? Or do you think that maybe we go the opposite way here and we get more teams that don't go conference, like more independent teams, when they realize like, hey, wait, we can make $20 million doing, like, we can go 20 million just for ourselves. Yeah, we're good. We don't need the ACC anymore. We don't need to be in the Big 12. We'll just go independent and be our own guys.
I mean, it's probably nobody in the Big Ten because tradition, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, that sounds like an Alabama move if I've ever heard one. I mean, like who were thinking? Alabama would totally be like, yeah, screw this SEC. We just saw what they can get and keep. Oh, that's going to be us. But no, I mean,
Big Ten, though, Scott, you got USC and Oregon in the Big Ten now. I could totally see those two teams. You don't think Oregon would be like, you know what? We are going to go independent. And also, we're launching the Nike Sports Channel that hosts all Oregon athletics, and it's a streaming site that all the money goes to.
Yeah, I guess when I said Big Ten, my first thought was, I can't see Ohio State doing this, and only because tradition and blah blah blockety blah with Michigan, like they're too cowardice to do that. So like they want to keep all that crap alive. But Oregon, yeah, they got no fucking loyalty to the Big Ten. I could totally see them doing it. And in fact, I would advise them probably. Like Phil Knight's probably working on it right now. Like, did you see how much money they get? We'll get that money. Let's get that Notre Dame money.
I mean, Tiger just made a golf league out of thin air, and he's created greens that, move on command. Why can't they create their own independent thing?
I really do think like more teams are going to see what Notre Dame has done this year and be like,
yeah,
they cracked the code.
It's true.
They crack the code. They make their own schedule. They're not beholden to play in a conference championship game. They get all of the postseason money to themselves. And if you're a big enough brand, there are enough streaming services out there that will pay you to broadcast your shit. So like,
it would only be the
pockets, man.
Yeah, it would only be the upper echelon. Like I said, you got to be in Alabama or Ohio State and Oregon. Like you have to be the creme de la creme. But there's definitely people that would pay.
But that's the thing. I don't think you have to be the creme de la creme because Notre Dame hasn't been the creme de la creme this whole time.
Yeah, but they're creme de la creme as far as brand goes. They're in the upper echelon, even without being winning. They're still a name brand. Like name another team that's not in the upper echelon that could carry that cachet where they're like, oh well, we've got this we've got the brand regardless of what we put on the field. Like, and that's where Notre Dame's unique. I
would say the U would be the first team that I can think of that could pull this off without, they haven't done anything great lately. Besides Hannah Cavender convincing Carson Beck to come to Miami. That's basically the only thing they've done worth of shit. In the last
Good for her. She did something for once. Like, nice. I thought once they transferred to Miami, they'd actually win some basketball games, but whatever.
Nope, she convinced Carson Beck to come to Miami. But like,
did she though, or did the NFL look at him and go?
But again, that's another brand. That's another brand. Like that's kind of like a known commodity from within the last 30 years. Like they had a highly visible brand. So again, like a team like that, sure. But I mean, if you're one of these, like I don't even think like a Penn State could even do that. Could they? Like no, who's paying money for like a Penn State?
They're regional, man. Who cares?
Right? No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like it takes a unique brand or something like that, or like a very large following to be able to pull it off. But yeah, I mean, there's a handful of teams that can do it, right? Like there's at least a handful of them.
All right, where's the cutoff? Let's figure out where the cutoff is. So obviously Notre Dame can do it. We think Miami could do it.
Ohio State.
We just jump to the end though because clearly
Oregon,
there's only one.
Michigan can do it.
Alabama.
Mookie, you said there's only one. It's just
there's only one because there's only one team that does it. Everyone else is a bunch of pussies. Like,
well, what I'm saying is like these teams are going to see they hack the code and they're going to look. I think teams are going to look at. I think USC could be in that. Yes, I think Oregon could be a team that could probably pull it off. Oklahoma, Texas, those two teams could be.
Yeah, Texas for sure. I mean, they already had the Longhorn Network. They definitely.
Now we're starting to get to the like
That's
Clemson?
where you
Clemson. Could Clemson do it?
I don't think so.
They're not,
I think they're just below that cutoff line. Like I think that'd be where.
Well, and like I think Clemson's their success is like too recent.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not long term, and the brand doesn't hold cachet. Like that's not.
Here's what we should do. All right, you know what? Get one of the interns on this. A team that has won a title in multiple decades, because I feel like that's effectively what you need. Is you need to be highly successful in the last 3 decades, at least once in each decade. Because like you need some staying power, other these flash of the pan Clemsons that come up and then they go down, or like the Louisvilles who are only good when they have a Lamar Jackson at the helm. It's not a long list. It's maybe 5 teams. Maybe.
Well, because honestly, I would even argue.
I'm not wrong. I'm not.
I'd even argue that Georgia doesn't make the cutoff. Like Georgia, who's won recently, doesn't make the cutoff for me because
I don't think so either.
They're not a big enough brand, and their success is too recent. So like they're close. Right. But they're in the same. I put them in the same bracket as like Clemson. Like they're underneath that line, and they don't have enough historical brand name to push past it. Like it's a handful of teams that can pull it off. It's not a whole lot, but there's enough that you'd be like, damn, that's a powerhouse independent conference right there. Like even though they aren't affiliated with each other, like that's if they were all to pool in and into an independent conference, it would be wild.